Hi, my name's Lucas the Skeptical Wolf, and as you may have guessed, my furry friends, you may have been caught by the clickbait. No, this isn't Lucas the Skeptical Wolf explains macros in the furry sense. This is Lucas the Skeptical Wolf explaining Excel macros. So if you're a normie, don't Google that without safe search on. And if you're a furry, I'm sorry, but hey, for everybody else that cares, let's get into macros. So two things quick that you're going to want to do before you even try to do anything with macros. You're going to want to go to the Trust Center, and you're going to want to go to macro settings. You're going to want to enable them. Now you only want to do this while you're actually working with a workbook that you trust. You don't want to just enable macros all the time, 24/7. And when you're done, you want to disable macros. Or if you fancy your organization, you'll sign your macros and then you'll use this thing. But while you're developing them, this is what we're going to do. Then over here, you're going to go to custom ribbon bar and you're going to make sure this is checked. This developer option, it needs to be checked. We're going to click OK. So there we go. Now we're going to make a basic sheet to do stuff in. So we're going to have a question, answer, and this is just a pet problem that I came up with, and I used to do this all the time when I was in the Navy. I'd use these Excel sheets to make like flashcards for myself, and it was really useful because on a ship all you had was basically Microsoft Word and Excel products, so you just had to figure out how to do everything you needed to do with those things. So I figured out how to do this. Question, answer, and then fake answer 1, and then we're going to do fake answer 2, 3. No, go back. Furries can't do this stuff. Then correct counts. And let's come up with questions like, what's the fine for a woo? And we're gonna, real quick, we're going to set the type of all these things to, except for that thing, to general text. Okay. What's the fine for a rube? Answer, $350. Whoop. 300% $50. Then we're going to go, what sound does a dog make? Bork. And then, what sound does a big dog make? Boof. And then, what's this? Excel. There we go. So now we have some beautiful questions over here. Then we're going to come down here to our other columns, and we're going to get some helper values in here. So we're going to do, this is going to be the question count. This is going to be the question row. This is going to be the actual question, and this is going to be the answer. And then we're going to go up here, and this is going to be equal to count a. And count a basically counts all the cells that are not empty. And we're going to assume that people aren't being stupid and like typing something down here, which would change that to 6. So there's some assumptions that this is assuming. And there we go. So now it says 5. Turns out that's the maximum row. That's really sweet. So now we want a random one. So we're going to do ran between. And then we're going to do the bottom value, which is 2. And then the maximum value, which is that. And that way we can add questions and it will increment that up. And then question is equal index. And then we're going to, index is a really cool function that lets us get a value from a row or even a matrix. So we're going to do that. And then the row number is the random one that we picked. And then we're going to do the same for the answer. Index, the answer column with the row that we picked. Ta-da! There we go. So, what's this? Excel. So now we can come over here, do this. Go over here. Then we can do this equal that. There we go. And so now we can make this big, and then we can make this big. And we can make the whole thing black, because night mode. And then we'll do white text, and we'll center it up, make it big, so we can read it. And then we're going to do this, and we're going to copy. Oh, but Lucas, what are you doing? No, you're going to copy the answer over the question. Well, I'm going to just copy the formatting. So there we go. So now the formatting's the same. So now, what sound does a dog make? Bork. And then if I make it recalculate, oh, well, what's this? Excel. So there, we've got a really basic slideshow thing that doesn't use any macros yet. But what's the kind of annoying thing about this? Well, if you go to this back end, it's just randomly picking questions. So let's say I have thousands of these questions, like many thousands, and I don't want to deal with all that crap. Or I see this, sorry, not all that crap. Let's say I don't want to get this one over and over and over again. Say that I answered it, I got it right, and I don't want to see it for a while when I'm reviewing. Well, with it just being completely random, it can pick the same question twice in a row. So I just hit delete and it picked the same question. Let's see if I can get it to do it again with very loud typing. There, I just did it again. So that's annoying. It could pick the same question twice in a row, and it's not keeping track of how many times I've gotten it right. So thus macros. This can help us. This is a lot easier. There is a really crazy way that you could do this without macros. That's dumb. Usually you want to just take the easy route, especially if macros are available to you. So we're going to start providing some fake answers. So I'm going to cheat. All our fake answers are going to be numbers. Don't do this at home, kids. Excuse me. Then our correct count is going to equal, we're going to make sure that this is general. Okay, we want it to be general. And then if that is not equal to a blank cell, then we're going to give it a 0, else we're going to give it blank. And that's going to, oh my God, it's doing it again. It did this right before. I've had to start recording this like 3 times. So equals if this cell is not equal to that, comma, 0 if true, otherwise blank. Why isn't it calculating this cell? I'm going to have a hernia. All right, I'll figure that out later. So just have to pre-populate these. So why is it complaining? Number stored as text. Okay, then don't make it text. Make it general. There we go. That's probably what it was, is the cell was typed as text. So if you accidentally type a cell as text, it'll give you that annoying piece of crap error. Yay! Check that out. What? So now if I add a new question, it'll pre-populate the correct count. And don't worry, this is formulaic, but we're going to override it with the static value once somebody actually answers this question. So there we go. Now we've got questions, answers, but how am I going to interact with this thing so that, like, when I answer a question, I get to pick from one of these many answers, which are over here. Well, we'll do that with buttons. So this is only available in the developer tab. You can get to macros through this view thing, but if you go to the developer tab, you can see where are the controls, insert, form controls. So we're going to do a button. We're going to do a relatively large button because we're going to put the answers in there. And we're going to do answer A is the function. We're going to move that over here. I'm going to copy paste. Move it over here. Copy paste. Move over to here. Copy paste. Move over here. Copy paste. Move it over here. And notice that this is button 5. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. Very important that we remember. Okay, Jesus. Button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4. All right, we got all that. So now I want to get a new question. That's all I want to focus on right now, is I just want a new question. So we're going to go to the back end. We're going to say, hey, I need a brand new question. Well, we already have, we got these correct counts, but I want to know which one's the least. So maybe it looks like this in the future. Like, what do I do about that? So I want equals the minimum, oh right, min correct count equals the min of those. And so we can kind of mix and match. We don't need to use macros to figure this out. We can write this in a back-end sheet and then save that. So there we go. We got that stuff over there. And then I just want to pick a random thing. So we're going to kind of cheat. We're going to record a macro to do what we want it to do, kinda. We know kinda what we want this macro to do, but we're gonna have to get a little bit more specific and actually add the code. But let's go ahead and record a macro. We're gonna call this new question. All right, so here we go. New question. All right, we're going to go to the backend sheet. We're recording now. We are going to select what's the first thing we want to do? We want to know where all these questions are. So we need the Q count. And then we need to go through this and just randomly pick one where the correct count is equal to the min. And then after that, we should be good. In fact, after that, we're gonna like copy these into the buttons and then click them and blah, blah, blah. But we're already pretty set on that. So we're gonna hit stop. We're gonna go to Visual Basic and look at our modules and see there's our module, and there's so when you record macro, it's already gonna automatically add module 1, and it's going to throw this in there. So it showed that we selected the back end sheet, and then we selected this I5 cell, and I5 is this guy. So it didn't catch that we selected I1. That's fine. We can do that manually. All right, so we're gonna get over here and get to work. So we definitely want to select the backend sheet. There's a way to do it without selecting the backend sheet, but you know what? It doesn't look as cool because when you do selecting sheets, it bounces between the sheets and looks like you're a hacker. If it needs to look more professional, you can do stuff like sheets.range.select or stuff like that. There's just a bunch of different ways to do it. This is going to be the easiest. It's just to select the sheet that we care about being on. And that's important to keep in mind if you're doing this. If you just call range, it's going to call range on whatever sheet you're on. So if you need to be on backend sheet when you do this range call, you need to make sure that you select that backend sheet. So all right, select that backup sheet. First thing we want is the count, and that's going to be dim count as integer. That's how you define variables in Visual Basic for applications. That's what VBA stands for. I just read that at the top of this because I literally forgot until I did that. All right, and then we're going to say count is equal to range I1 dot value. And then we're also going to dim I as integer. Actually, no. Yeah, we're just going to do I. And then while I is not equal to, oh wait, no. We're going to do cell. We're going to look at the cell. We want this cell, because this is basically what I want to do is, in fact, this is what comments are good for. Get number of questions. And down here, we're going to get a question row number that has not been answered correctly the most. All right. So dim I. So while let's see. We want to say while I haven't selected one of these such that it matches this, keep picking a different I. So while cells, the row number is first, F is 6, the row we want is I, or the column we want is I. No, wait, other way around. The row that we want is I, the column that we want is 6. So that's, and then we're going to do dot value, because that's the current correct count. And then we want to know the minimum correct count. So that's cells, and then I is 9. I just did that. We're comparing 6, 9, 69. Ha! All right, so I9 dot value, and then it goes to wind. And then right before this and right after this, we need to pick a random value between that. And there's a couple ways to do that, but I normally don't do Visual Basic for applications. Most coders don't, and most people that use Excel generically aren't screwing around in VBA. So never be afraid to search anything that you don't know what to do. So we're going to do ran between integer VBA because I want whole numbers, and I want to, there we go. So there we just want this guy. And so we're going to go I is equal to that, I is equal to that, and then upper bound is going to be our count that we picked earlier, and lower bound is always going to be 2. And this ran function just picks a number like between 0 and 1, so it's a decimal number. So we're multiplying it by this, which we can just subtract 1 from this. And then we're going to add 2 to it. And cast the whole thing to an integer. There we go. So that should pick something that we want. And then, so now our I should be the row. So this is visually what our I is. Our I is this, 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 or this. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to define the question. So dim question as string, because it's a string. And question is equal to cells. And the row is going to be I, and then the column is going to be 1, because that's the first column. Value. Then we're going to select the question. There we go. And there we go. Back end. We want this to be the question tab now. And then we're going to, do cells to dot value is equal to question. So now we're going to set that cell that we have on the questions tab to that. And make sure that you click save a lot, because when this crashes, you'll lose all your progress if you're not careful. So now let's go to the questions tab. We're going to assign macro, change this to new question. Click OK. All right. Then we click it. Oh, whoa, what's this? Oh, whoa, what's this? Oh, it finally changed. Damn it. Oh, duh. Back end. It's the only one that has a 0. So let's change these guys back to zeros using that function. Now we should get random ones. Should, would, could. It's not working. Back end. Min count, row count. Let's see here. We're not going to need this in the long run. It should be picking something else. So let's go on ahead and do this. We're going to bloop, debug. So we're going to step over, and then we're going to add what is called a watch. Add a watch. So we can see I. So it says that the value of I is 3, which should be not one of the ones that we're seeing. So there's 3. Can I hover over this? So cell value. So I is 3. That's the row over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should be looking at that. And then cells I and 9. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there we go. That's the mistake right there. So cell, that should be 5, because that's where the min is all the time. So we're going to stop. Wait a minute. I don't know all the answers to that song or lyrics. I'm a cultured human being. There. Now we should get, yay, random questions. So there. Now we have new questions. So I'm going to make a new function called sub populate answers. We're going to have it call that right after. Now, populate answers isn't going to know what the hell question we're on. So we're actually going to make this variable global. So now when we call new question, it's going to change I so that it's the same here. And generally, you'll want to avoid using I. I'm a programmer. This is a terrible idea to have I be a global variable. You'd want to change this to like row or something. But you know what? I'm doing this really quick. So screw it. Actually, I can't even hold myself to that. So let's see. Is there any other instance of I that I need to change? Question equals that. There you go. So we're going to save that, make sure it still works. Oh God, debug. Yep, didn't work because that wasn't changed yet. Oh, God damn it. There, it's picking random questions again. Oh boy. All right, so now it's working, and I'm not gonna, put bad ideas in people's heads, like making I a global variable. So Q row is now our variable for the question row. Now we want to go through and change all these buttons. So we're going to go over here, and we got all these questions in a row, but we don't want them always to be in the same order. So we are going to populate. We're first going to make an array. And the way you do that is we're going to go dim A, or answers, parentheses 4. This makes an array of 4 things as string. And then we're going to do answers 0 is equal to something, which is going to be cell, oh, don't forget, don't want to assume that we're on that sheet. Cells, we're going to do second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row of the Q row. So that's going to put that there. Third row, fourth row, fifth row. And this is going to be answer 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we want to shuffle these. Guess what? I don't want to have to sit here and try to figure this out. So we're going to go over here and go to shuffle array VBA. And what do you look at that? Chip Pearson. We're just going to take a look at this. Chip Pearson is a pretty good site, as I understand, for like developer help and stuff like that. And right here, they've given us 2 functions. You can also look, you're not going to get this lucky all the time. And if you go back, you can see, like, look for a stack exchange. In fact, if you just add stack exchange, oh wait, not ran between, sorry, go back here. Look for like the first stack exchange article, and hey look, here's one. And hey look, if you scroll down, hey, maybe I've recorded this once and failed already. Somebody actually copies that over from here. So we're going to put this here, and we're going to shuffle this array in place. Answer. All right. And just for fun, we're going to run this and see if that function worked that we just called. So populate answers is working. Yes. 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 So all this should just work, and then nothing should happen, right? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Oh crap. Type mismatch, array or user-defined type exception. See how it has answers highlighted in this shuffle array in place. So if we scroll up here, it's expecting a type. So let me force this error one more time. I actually have to hit stop to get it to stop debugging. Type mismatch, array or user-defined type expected. So the correct answer anytime you see something like this, is to Google it as close to word for word as possible. Type miss, I'm a dog, array, or user dash defined type expected, and then always add the language that you're searching in so that you get that. There we go. And we see this, and it gets into details. Basically, the in Stack Exchange, you usually find good examples. You want to poke around in this until you figure out what the heck's going on. And basically, it comes down to this up here. Click OK. Should be string for our specific example, because we're making a string array. If we change this to variant, I think it would work too. In fact, just for giggles, I'm going to try it. I'm going to call this as variant. And then make that variant as well. It's going to think. And then we're going to run it and just see if it works. Right, so it came over here. In fact, one of the things that we can do if we want to see what answer is, we can set a breakpoint right here. And we can hit the thing to make it do that. So it switched over there, it ended here. Now let's check and add a watch to answers. And answers, as you can see, is a variant. If we blow it up, we can see that's interesting. Excel 350 boof boof. So it went the wrong way. It went that way. So that means, I'm glad we did this, we got our rows kind of mixed up. So our rows and our columns are backwards. So doing this can save you a lot of headaches down the road. We're just going to do this because it's going to be faster. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Just going to save. Hit that button. Look at that. Look at this. There we go. And then there's our numbers. So we do have an empty. Is that expected? We should have 1, 2, and 3, and then empty. Oh, that's because this should be a 3. Okay. Just stop. So there we go. I don't know why that is. If you do answers parentheses 3s, it's going to give you an array of 4 things. VBA is not a normal language. Make sure you know its idiosyncrasies before you start screwing around. So now if we run this, we should get, boom, end sub, answers, 1, 2, 3, and boof. And then if we do it again, we should get a different order if we're lucky. If we're unlucky, we won't. 1, 3, 2, and boof. There we go. So that's what we want. We want just random questions in a random order. So now we need to assign those to the buttons. So we're going to go, bloop, we're going to stop. We're going to go shuffle array in place. So we've shuffled it. Now we want work, sheets, and then we want to go to question dot buttons, button 1, because remember these are buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is down here. And then dot text is equal to answers 0. I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then, so now we should have set the questions to that, and then we want to go back to the question tab. So now, after it gets done saving, if I click that, look, 1, 2, 3, boof. And right now, these buttons are kind of pissed off because I'll assign them answer A as the question, or as the sub. So we're going to make a sub answer A. And I'm going to make one for B, C, D. B. C. I can touch type with a fursuit head on. And D. And then we're going to actually write a sub check answer. Actually, no, yeah. And then it's going to take a answer as string. There we go. And then answer A is just going to take this text from the button and it's going to send it to that function. So we're going to do a function call, and the way that you, or a sub call, which all you do is just do check answer that, except now we're doing 2, then 3, then 4, and then we're going to do message box, and then answer, just to see that it's working. Oh, it didn't work. You lie. You lie, your pants on fire. So, check answer, worksheets, question, buttons, button 1, text. Does it work with any of the other buttons? Damn it. Maybe it's C string prompt. There we go. We're going to do a breakpoint because I want to see what that value is. Boof. I want to see boof. So let's add a watch just to answer. Variant empty. Ooh, so it doesn't like that for some reason. A-N-S-W-E-R, A-N-S-W-S. Okay, so it's a misspelling. There we go. For better or for worse, that can happen, too. That's not encouraging. It's giving me 2 for everything that I click on. Oh, that's because they're all answer A. Duh. So we need to assign a macro. This is going to be answer B. We're going to assign a macro, answer C. We're going to assign a macro, answer D. Okay, and then we're going to click, and that should say 3, that should say boof, that should say 1, and that should say 2. Okay, now we know we're getting the right answers, so now we need to check if the answer is correct. So we're going to do if answer is equal to, and yes, those that program, it is a single equal for this string comparison operation. We're going to compare the text in here with the text over here. And remember, at the beginning of this, I set the type of this to text. If you didn't do that, you'll want to cast everything with C string just to make sure that it all works. So we're going to want to, remember I kept all the correct answers in here. And then when I bring them up here, I just shuffle them. We're going to do, this is the second row. So we want cells. And actually, I'll do one better. So we're going to do this. I'm going to steal stuff from this, except here we're going to do cells, and then it's the Q row. Oh no, wait. Yeah, it's the row first, and then the column. Q row, and then the column, which in this case is 2. Pretty sure this will work. Then message box, you got it right. So now I just want to see if the comparison will do it right. Or wait, no, this needs to be the back end. Make sure you click save every time because it needs to compile and then update the VBA. If you don't, it'll literally be running the code that you ran before it edited it last. Okay. Boop. What sound does a dog make? Bork. Compile error. Block if without end if. Okay, duh. If and if. And always try to make the code look neat and tidy. Save. Button. Boof. You got it right. Okay, so the comparison worked. So if that, I want to let them know that got it right. Otherwise, I want to let them know the correct answer. The answer is, oh wait, wrong. The answer is, and then ampersand connects things. So, in fact, let's save this to a variable to make it easier. Correct answer. So we're going to dim correct answer as string. Correct answer is equal to that. Wrong, the correct answer is correct answer. There we go. So then we did that. And then up here, if we got it right, though, we want to do one extra thing. We want to add one to this, the backend cell. So we're going to go back here to worksheet, backend. And by the way, doing this worksheet thing basically stops switching back and forth. So if you're not switching back and forth, or if you are okay with switching back and forth between sheets, you can just use this sheet, and then you can just use cells all by itself. If you want to stay on this one sheet and switch back and forth without really seeing that, then you can do this worksheets thing. So we're going to do worksheets, backend, cells. And we're going to go to the key row, but then we're going to go to the 6th column. And we're going to set that equal to that plus 1. So now you can see kind of why you may not want to do that, because it can get really long and messy, but otherwise it's fine. So that should just about do it. Okay. So everything should be in working order. So if I go here, get a new question. What sound does the big, oh wait, after I click OK, after the message box, I want to get, or what is it, new question. What's the function called? New question. New question, new question. And then we're going to edit the text on this. New question. And we're going to save it. New question. What is the fine for awu? Wrong. The answer is 350. Okay, I didn't know that. What sound does a big dog make? Oh, definitely boof. You got it right. All right, so now let's check the back end. Look at that. We got a 1. And let's get the next 2 right. I definitely remember getting that. And then what's this? Excel. And then what sound does a dog make? Notice, what sound does a dog make? That's the only one that has a correct count of 0. That matches the min. So if I come back here, and I've got all this, and I pick something wrong, it should just keep on bringing up this one question until I get it right. And then it gets it randomly, picks it randomly. Okay, so there you go. That does it start to finish how macros work. So, and this was kind of fun because there was a bit of debugging and all that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll put this in the description somehow, either like Google Drive or OneDrive or something. There will be a link in the description on how to get this file. Either way, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed learning all about macros from a furry.